by political independents as well as Republicans. Independents oppose the law 56% to 35%, but they also want a ruling in favor of subsidies by almost exactly the same margin. So it doesn't make any sense unless these people don't know what they're talking or what they're, polling on. How can you oppose a law but then want subsidies for that law? Yeah, confusing, isn't it? Absolutely. And that's simply because, some politicians and some news people are perpetrating a fraud on the American people. Did I just say American? Yeah, I did. So it just said American. American people. America. So you can't, it makes no sense for that to be the case. It makes no sense for somebody to be, to say, nearly 60% of the population oppose the law, but also nearly 60% of the population favor subsidies. Well, the subsidies are a part of the law. So you can't not like the law and like it at the same time. Well, I suppose you can say, well, I don't like the law as a whole, but I like some aspects of it. Like subsidies. Well, look, folks, subsidies are nothing more than a plain scam. Plain and simple. They're a scam. You can't get by it. No way to say it any other way, but it's a scam. Because you can't have a subsidy for a program that is an illegal program. And if the judges declare that this is, this part of the law is, unconstitutional or illegal, then are you saying that you support breaking the law? If they rule against Obamacare, it's simply because of how the law itself is written. And to me, it's pretty clear how the law is written. That the states have to set up these exchanges, and if they don't, then you're not going to have one in your state. Plain and simple. So this whole notion that you can have a subsidy but still hate the law, what makes no sense. Another scam being perpetrated on us by the left, by the lamestream media, and by left-wing radical politicians. Here's something from Mic.com, MIC.com. 14 years after decriminalizing all drugs, that's New York for all drugs, ALL, all. Here's what Portugal actually looks like today. 14 years ago, Portugal went against the EU, basically, and the United States and the Western world, and they decriminalized all their drugs. Yeah, ALL, all. Because we all know that A sounds like all. All. In 2001, the Portuguese government did something that the United States would find entirely alien. After many years of waging a fierce war on drugs, it decided to flip its strategy entirely. It decriminalized them all. Now, if someone is found in possession of less than a 10-day supply of anything from marijuana to heroin, he or she is sent to a 3-person commission for the dissuasion of drug addiction, typically made up of a lawyer, a doctor, and a social worker. The commission recommends treatment or a minor fine. Otherwise, the person is sent off without any penalty. A vast majority of the time, there is no penalty. 14 years after decriminalization, Portugal has not been run into the ground by a nation of drug addicts. In fact, by many measures, it's doing far better than it was before. I've kind of gone that way myself by saying the war on drugs is really costing the United States both liberty and money, and it's costing us treasure. Well, because we lose good men and women in the war on drugs. They get killed. Both police and civilian, federal and local police and civilians. So one of the ways to stop this trend is to legalize some of this stuff. Specifically pot. I'm going to look. There are a number of reasons why pot became illegal, and none of them were really any good reasons anyway. A lot of what they talk about pot, it being a gateway drug, well, that doesn't seem to be actually bear out to be true if you look at the actual reality around the globe. That doesn't seem to be happening, especially in places where they've decriminalized it, like Portugal and in Amsterdam and a few other places. It doesn't seem like pot is leading people into harder drugs. Not at all. And this whole notion that we need to fight pot is redonkulous, to use a colloquialism, because it's not working. You think you're taking all, you hit this, you grab a shipment of, a ton of weed, pot, cannabis, if you will, and you think you've taken it off the streets. The truth is you haven't. There isn't a shortage still. People are growing this stuff all over the place. No, I don't smoke it, and I don't suggest that other people. You know what? It's their body, and it really isn't all that much of a danger, any more so than alcohol and tobacco. Now, I know you hear these people say these stupid things. Well, pot's never killed anybody, and you never heard of anybody on pot killing anybody, and both of those statements are inane. They are totally inane, because there is no correlation for saying what they said. There is no evidence to prove or disprove what they said, which makes it inane. And we really should probably do more research on marijuana, but at the same time, we should understand that hemp from marijuana is a good thing, and we've seemed to, in this country, decided that we're going to just ban everything pot related. I don't know why. That makes no sense, especially when our European partners are allowing industrialized hemp to be grown and utilized for a number of different reasons. Sometimes it's just better. But, I guess it is, it is what it is. And there are people that think that pot can do a lot to cure certain diseases, including cancer. Now, I don't know if any of that stuff is true. I do know that pot does tend to relieve certain symptoms, including nausea, related to certain types of cancer treatments, which helps people to recover from those treatments, which means that they're able to take the treatments a little bit better, which means that they're more likely to complete the whole series of treatments that are necessary to eradicate the cancer within their body. So in that respect, I guess pot's a good thing. But look, anything too much of a good thing is not a good thing, right? Don't we always say that? Too much of a good thing. Well, we could say that about government. Too much government is not a good thing. Government always being in your face and telling you what you can and cannot do is not a good thing. So when you have the government that is lying to you about certain things, Well, then people just start to think, well, maybe if they're lying to me about that, then they could be lying to me about this. And if they're lying to me about that over there, that drug, then they might be lying to me about this drug. And so people start not to trust the government at all when there are parts. There are times when they should fully, completely trust the government, but the government has done such a bad, poor job of standing on its own when it comes to this stuff, and being legit and being honest and being real about it, that this is why people just don't trust them on this subject. And you know, when you look at all the failed raids, drug raids, all the drug raids that happen at the wrong address, it happens far too. Now, I'm not bashing on our law enforcement, but it happens too often. And I know people argue, well, Rod, he out of all the thousands, it happens like 1 out of 1,000. Well, that's 1 out of 1,000 too many. That should not happen. Especially when an innocent person gets injured or, God forbid, killed. Because, you tell people, well, if you just obey the police, then you'll be okay. Well, what if the police have it wrong? What if they have the wrong person? What if they have the wrong identity? What if they have the wrong property, wrong house, wrong car? And you don't even get a chance to comply with police request. And a lot of it happens from, illicit drug activity. And look, this is dangerous stuff. The people who deal with drugs are dangerous people. Do you want to, do you want to be involved in that type of element on a daily basis? I don't know why we make such laws that put our men and women of law enforcement in such danger daily. I don't understand it. And then call it a war on drugs. But we always say, well, we can't get rid of the war on drugs. Well, why not? Because we've been scammed and hypnotized into believing that it's the right thing to do. And we've noticed it doesn't work. The way we're currently engaging doesn't work. I know some people are going to say, oh, geez, Rod's advocating for legalizing. No, I'm not. I'm saying we have to rethink this because this whole notion of a war on drugs isn't working, and it's costing us a lot in blood and treasure. Different kinds of treasure. Well, this is a Reagan thing, right? Well, look, I know Nancy Reagan just just invented the thing, just say no. I know. But who's in charge now? Bill Clinton doubled down on Reagan. Obama is like, yeah, you states, you can go ahead and decriminalize it all you want to. It's still federally illegal. And if we catch people in your state, we're going to lock them up on federal charges. And you know what? They do that sometimes. They use it. They use it to their advantage, the feds. And I got to tell you that if there's another way, we should look for another way. If there's another way that's cheaper, that is going to save more people, keep more people out of jail that shouldn't be in jail, save our police, both in the federal and local level, from being killed, if it is going to reduce or prevent bad raids at the wrong place, if it is going to reduce violence and crime on our streets and reduce the value of some of these illicit drugs so that the cartels just don't see it being valuable to them anymore, at least not in the United States, we should seriously look at those options then, shouldn't we? And not listen to the propaganda that tells us that we have to fight this with everything we've got. We got to learn to pick our battles.